So I'm here with the PlayStation Portal and this thing that I cobbled together out of parts, and we're gonna put them head to head. So let's go ahead and check out! Welcome to Mike Techs It Out. I'm Mike, and I have the Portal to the PlayStation 5, that is. So I've had this thing for a little over a month now, but it was extremely hard to find. In fact, it's still hard to find, but before I bought the Portal, I decided to try to make my own dedicated PS5 streaming handheld. Not only did I want to see if I could build something cheaper, but something more capable than the Portal. Now, of course, I could have got something like the PlayStation Edition backbone and slapped it on my phone, but I wanted something the size of the Portal screen. Plus, I wanted to have an authentic PS5 controller experience like you have with the Portal. So the first thing I did was buy a new PS5 controller. Now, I got this controller on sale for Black Friday for around 50 bucks. And the main reason that I wanted this controller was because I wanted to still have a dedicated controller for the console in case I leave the streaming device downstairs or somewhere far away. I don't have to run and get the controller and then pair it back up to the system. Now, of course, this isn't optional. You don't really have to buy a controller. You could always just use the controller that you already have. But either way, having a second controller is never a bad idea. Now, when it came to the device, I wanted something that matched the screen size of the Portal, but I didn't want to spend too much money on the tablet because one of my goals was to keep this under the Portal's MSRP of $200. So I went with the Galaxy Tab A7 Lite. There were a couple of reasons. For one, this was on sale for $100 for Black Friday, and normally it's not too much more. And two, even though it's a tablet that shipped with Android 11, it's upgradable to 12, which has native support for the DualSense controller. I actually tried to do a cheap setup with the Android phone I bought a few years ago, but it only ran Android 11, so I didn't recognize the DualSense. It also has an 8-inch screen like the Portal. Now, the only downside to this tablet is the resolution. It wasn't 1080p like the Portal is. It's 1340 by 800, so technically it's around 800p. It's not quite as sharp as the Portal, but it's still a pretty good looking screen. Now, the last two things I needed was a stand to mount the controller to the tablet and a USB-C to C cable. Now, I already had the cable, but I'll estimate that probably will cost around $10. And the mount I chose is around $20. It fluctuates in price a bit. It's actually an iPhone mount that works with MagSafe, but it comes with these magnetic rings you can stick on non-MagSafe products to hold them on magnetically. I like the solution because I can easily take the tablet off when it's not in use and use it for other things when I need to. The only downside is if I leave the tablet on the mount for a few days, the ring will usually fall off the back of the tablet, causing it to land face down most of the time. So a clamp style mount will probably be better if you don't want to take the tablet off the mount, or maybe putting better adhesive on the magnetic ring would also work. So including the price of the controller, that brings our total so far to $180 or $130 without the controller. So after gathering all the stuff I needed and slapping it together, the first thing I did was download the official Remote Play app from Sony and connect the controller via Bluetooth. So here are my main issues with this setup. On this tablet, at least, I feel like that connecting Bluetooth added too much latency. It may not bother some people, but I could tell the difference as soon as I started playing. So that's why I decided to do a direct connection over USB-C, which broke the audio. Yeah, if you connect the PlayStation controller to an Android tablet, or even an iPad for that matter, the same thing happens there. It tries to send the audio through the controller speaker. Luckily on Android, there's a way to get around it. Now, it's a bit convoluted, but in the developer settings, you can disable USB audio routing. You have to go to Settings, Device, Software Information, and then tap the build number 7 times. Then enter your passcode to enable developer options. And then under the developer options menu, you can choose disable USB audio routing to fix that issue. Now, if you actually want to use USB audio in the future, you'll need to go back there and turn that back on. Now, with that out of the way, I tried again to see if it was better latency-wise, and it was like playing natively on the PS5. However, there was my second issue. Sony's Remote Play app kind of feels limited because it didn't give me many options for resolution or any controller vibration options at all, even with the controller's hardware. And my goal, aside from being cheaper, was to get as close to the Portal experience as possible. And the cheapest way I could find to do that was to buy a software called PS Play, which has a lot more options than Sony's app. Now, you do have to pay for this app, so if you're fine with no vibrations, Sony's original app is fine streaming-wise, but I did buy the PS Play app, so I add another $650 to the total, bringing the price to $186.50. And now, my version of the Portal was finally complete. And to be honest, it looked pretty cool considering it's just a bunch of stuff cobbled together, but how well does it actually play? Really well, actually. So I mentioned earlier, the actual streaming is just as good as the Portal when you have the controller directly connected. Even though the resolution is still a bit lower, it looks pretty sharp. I mentioned briefly in the unboxing video that the Portal resolution being higher actually makes it a bit noticeable if you have a dip in quality. Since the screen isn't as crisp, it's not as noticeable if the connection dips slightly. So overall, yeah, you can cobble together something that streams PlayStation games as good as the Portal and save a few dollars if you can catch some sales. Plus, this tablet can do other things like stream video and browse the web. Things you can't do with the Portal. Plus, with the tablet, you also get more audio options. Now, the built-in speakers on the tablet and the Portal, they're not really amazing. I'll do a quick comparison so you can have a listen.
Registration number RB23. Rank fits the bill. Call sign. What?
Now, the Portal does get a little louder, but it sounds more distorted at higher volumes, but both of them lack depth, which is to be expected because they're pretty slim devices, and the sound can be a bit tinny. But this tablet has a headphone jack like the Portal, and you can use Bluetooth headphones. Right now, with the Portal, the only wireless headphones you can use are the one that support Sony's new PlayStation Link standard, and the only headphones they have available right now that work with the Portal wirelessly are the same price as the Portal. So again, the tablet setup wins in that aspect. But at this point, you're probably asking, if it's so good, then why did I still buy the Portal? Well, to be honest, there are a few things I didn't like. For one, even with the PS Play app, the vibration didn't feel very strong or consistent. I'm not sure how the developer of the PS Play app is making the vibration work, but it feels more like a light rumble a lot of the times than the full vibration you get when you're playing a PS5. The haptic triggers also don't feel like they're behaving the way they're supposed to. Again, they feel like they're not operating at their full strength when I'm streaming games through the tablet. They do work better than the vibration, but it's not the same as using a DualSense connected to a PS5 or the Portal, which is exactly the same as using the PS5 controller connected to a PS5. Speaking of the controller, I like having the controller plugged in for lower latency, but it consistently drains the battery of the tablet even when it's not in use. If I don't unplug the controller from the tablet, it would just drain the battery to death by the next day. I assumed that the controller was fully charged, it wouldn't draw any more power from the tablet, but for some reason, that's not the case. But to be honest, neither of those things were deal breakers to me. The deal breaker was just the weight. This thing's freaking heavy. Yeah, you can cobble together a tablet and a controller, and all the weight of the tablet causes the controller just to dig into your hands. I found myself putting it down after about 30 minutes, whereas the Portal I regularly play for multiple hours, like with Spider-Man 2, I probably played for like 3 or 4 hours at a time, and I never really felt that fatigued. Now, the other thing people are probably thinking that have followed my channel for a while, they're probably thinking, why don't I just use my Steam Deck on my ROG Ally? Well, Sony limits the controllers that can be used for remote play. It's basically either a PS4, PS5 controller, or the Backbone edition for phones, and that's pretty much it. Now, there is a workaround for both devices using a third-party app, but my goal was to get as close to the Portal experience as possible, and I really do enjoy a lot of the features of the PS5 controller while playing PS5 games. So overall, I had a lot of fun experimenting with this thing and trying to match the Portal, but I still prefer the Portal. Sure, it has its limitations. It can't do anything else aside from stream PS5 games, but it's really good at that one thing that it does. Even turning it on and putting it to sleep is seamless, whereas a tablet, it can be a bit clunky. Now, part of the reason that the experience isn't as good is just the limitations that Sony puts in place when it comes to using other devices and using their controllers. It would be nice if they allow vibration and additional settings on their official remote play app, but overall, this is really the best way to play remote play for PS5 in my opinion. I know another criticism of the Portal is a lot of people have pointed out that it's overpriced, but I only ended up saving $13.50 when it came to trying to do it myself and match the features, and I still couldn't fully match it when it came to the seamlessness and comfort of the Portal, so I'm not saying that the device is the best value and to run out and buy one, but it made me appreciate the price a little bit more when I tried to do it myself. Now, as far as this, I will say if you can deal with this being a bit uncomfortable, or if you already have a tablet laying around, the experience of streaming on this thing is still really good, and it will actually save you a bit of money, especially with not having to buy everything. But let me know in the comments how you're using remote play. Which one would you pick? Would you pick the tablet setup or the Portal? Again, let me know down below. And if you enjoyed this video, then make sure to tell a friend, tell a coworker, like, share, and subscribe, and hit the bell notification to be notified when I drop a video or a live stream. And always do at least 2 things at the same time. Peace.